Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're diving into an enemy that can slip into your home completely unnoticed and then cause an unbelievable amount of damage in just a couple of days. We are talking about the hidden science of water damage.
So picture this, right? You find a little leak under the sink, or maybe the washing machine overflows just a tiny bit. Your first thought is probably, I'll just grab some towels. Seems easy enough to clean up. But what is really going on in the places you can't see the moment that water starts to spread?
48 hours. Remember that number. That's the entire window you have. After those 2 days, a whole chain reaction kicks off that threatens not just your house, but your health.
Yeah, as soon as water shows up where it's not supposed to be, a clock starts ticking. And this isn't just about mopping up a puddle, it's a full-on scientific race against time, moisture, and, well, microbial growth. And this is a huge deal, especially if you live somewhere with high humidity. In those conditions, wet drywall and insulation just can't dry out on their own. They become the perfect breeding ground for dormant mold spores. And then what started as a simple water problem, it just explodes into a house-wide contamination issue, spread by your very own air conditioning system. See, the real problem isn't the water you can see. It's the invisible invasion happening deep inside your walls. Water actually wicks up through materials, kind of like a candle wick, spreading way, way far from where the leak even started. So how can you tell this is happening? What are the clues?
Well, one of the first signs you might notice is swollen or warped baseboards. Porous stuff like drywall and wood, they act like a giant sponge, just pulling that moisture up and out. If you see this, it's a dead giveaway that water has gotten deep inside your walls.
Here's another classic sign: peeling paint or wallpaper that's starting to bubble. What's happening is the moisture is soaking the wall from the inside out, and it's breaking the bond of the adhesive. The paint is literally being pushed right off the wall by trapped water.
And this one's a big one. That smell. You know that distinct musty odor? That's often the very first clue you get that something's wrong. That smell is actually the byproduct of mold and mildew eating away at the organic materials inside your walls. If you can smell it, the invisible invasion is already happening.
You can really see the destructive power when it comes to hardwood floors. When water gets trapped underneath, the wood expands, but it does it unevenly. That causes it to cup or buckle, just like this. And by the time you see this happen, you're almost definitely looking at a full replacement, not just a simple repair.
Okay, so how in the world do you fight an enemy you can't even see? Well, you don't do it with guesswork. You have to fight it with a really calculated, scientific approach that's designed to find and get rid of moisture on a molecular level.
Just look at the difference here. On one side, you've got your standard DIY approach. On the other, you have the professional toolkit. It's a night and day difference. And it's not just about having more powerful fans. It's about having a totally different goal. One method just tries to clean up the visible water. The other? Well, the other's goal is to verifiably dry the entire structure.
And the core of all this is a science called psychrometrics. Now, it sounds really complex, I know, but the idea is actually pretty simple. Professionals turn the air itself into a drying tool. They precisely control the temperature, the humidity, and the airflow to create an environment so incredibly dry that it literally pulls trapped moisture out of the walls and floors. And then, industrial-strength dehumidifiers are there to capture it for good.
The whole process is so refined that the industry's main standards body, the IICRC, lays out a super clear three-step process. You start with extraction, then you move to the scientific drying, and, this is crucial, you end with clearance testing to prove, not just guess, that everything is truly dry.
But hang on, there's another really critical piece to this puzzle. The entire game plan, the safety gear, the equipment, you name it, it all changes based on one simple thing: where the water came from. Because as it turns out, not all water damage is created equal.
First, you've got Category 1, which we call clean water. You can think of this like a burst pipe from a water supply line. It's not immediately dangerous. But here's the catch. If you let it sit for too long and it mixes with building materials, it can very quickly degrade into the next, nastier category.
So next up is Category 2, or gray water. This is the stuff that might come from an overflowing washing machine or a dishwasher. It's got contaminants in it, detergents, dirt, microbes, that can definitely make you sick. This kind of water absolutely requires antimicrobial treatments during the cleanup.
And then you have the most dangerous of all, Category 3, black water. We're talking sewage backups or floodwaters from outside. This stuff is grossly contaminated with pathogens, and the rules for dealing with it are non-negotiable.
You have to set up full containment, and any porous material it touches, drywall, carpet, insulation, it all has to be torn out and thrown away, period.
So here's the bottom line. How you respond in those first 48 hours is what determines which path you're going to go down. And they're two very different paths. It's really a choice between a controlled drying process and a major demolition project.
And just look at the difference. Path number 1 is restoration. It's a scientific drying process that usually takes just a few days. Path number 2, which happens after mold grabs hold, is remediation. That's a long, expensive process of tearing out and rebuilding parts of your home, and it can take weeks, sometimes even months.
You know, this really says it all. Taking immediate action, guided by science, is literally the only thing that stands between a manageable problem and a full-blown crisis. It's all about stopping that initial water issue before it has the chance to morph into a much bigger, much more destructive mold problem.
So, after all this, what's the real cost of waiting? It's not just measured in dollars and cents. It's measured in disruption to your life, in your health, and in the safety of your home. And that's a question worth thinking about the next time you see even a single drop of water where it shouldn't be.